In the ancient city of Providence, there stood a house that few people cared to notice, yet many quietly feared. It was not known for ghosts or strange noises, and there were no tales of apparitions wandering its halls. Instead, its reputation was built on something far more unsettling, the simple and undeniable fact that an unusually large number of people had died within its walls. The house itself was old, built in the colonial style, with a peaked roof and weathered structure that showed the passage of time. It stood on Benefit Street, partially embedded into a rising hillside, giving it a strange and slightly unnatural appearance. Its yard was unkempt, filled with twisted vegetation and neglected pathways. As a child, I often heard vague stories about the house. People spoke of illness, weakness, and death, but never with certainty. It was said that those who lived there did not die suddenly, but rather seemed to lose their strength over time, fading away as though something was slowly draining their vitality. Curiosity led me and other children to explore the abandoned building during the day. Inside, the air felt heavy, and the smell was unpleasant. Dust covered everything, and the structure itself seemed to be slowly collapsing. But the cellar was the most disturbing place. It was damp, dark, and filled with strange white fungi growing from the ground. Sometimes these growths even appeared to glow faintly. On several occasions, I noticed a pale, shifting pattern on the dirt floor. At times, it resembled the outline of a human figure. One day, I thought I saw a thin yellow vapor rising from that shape. That moment stayed with me for years. As I grew older, my curiosity about the house returned. My uncle, Dr. Elihu Whipple, had collected notes about it over many years. He believed the house was unhealthy, but he also knew there were deeper and more disturbing rumors. According to records, the house had been built in 1763 by a man named William Harris. Soon after his family moved in, tragedy began. Children fell ill and died. Servants grew weak and passed away. Even the adults were affected, losing strength until they could no longer survive. Over the years, the same pattern repeated itself. New occupants would arrive, only to suffer the same slow decline. Some became mentally unstable, while others developed strange illnesses. Eventually, the house became impossible to rent. People avoided it, not because of ghosts, but because of its deadly reputation. My uncle's notes revealed something even stranger. Some of the victims, just before death, behaved in disturbing ways. They spoke in languages they did not know. They acted violently, even attempting to harm others. All of this pointed to something far beyond ordinary illness. As we studied further, certain patterns began to emerge. Many stories focused on the cellar as the source of the problem. Servants refused to work there, and strange shapes were often reported on the ground. One persistent legend suggested that something lay buried beneath the house. Some believed it to be a kind of vampire, not in the traditional sense, but something that fed on the life force of others. There were also records of bodies found with unusual conditions, as if their vitality had been drained. Even more disturbing were reports of dying individuals attempting to bite those around them. Another mystery involved the French language. Several victims, who had no knowledge of French, were heard speaking it during their final moments. This detail led to a discovery about the land itself. Before the house was built, the area had been used as a burial ground by a French family named Roulette. The Roulettes had a strange reputation. They were known for unusual behavior, and rumors suggested they were involved in dark practices. One member of the family had even been associated with terrifying legends in Europe. It seemed possible that whatever evil existed in the house had begun long before the building itself. Determined to uncover the truth, I began visiting the house more frequently. With permission from the owner, I examined the cellar in detail. At first, I found nothing new. The same strange fungi, the same unpleasant odor, and the same faint patterns on the ground. But one night, I decided to investigate alone. Using a light, I carefully observed the cellar in complete darkness. It was then that I saw it again. A faint, yellowish vapor rising from the ground. This time, it was clearer than ever before. It seemed almost alive, forming vague and shifting shapes before fading into the air. I felt a strong sense that the thing was not only present, but aware. When I told my uncle, he took the matter very seriously. Together, we decided to conduct a full investigation. We prepared equipment, including scientific instruments and protective gear. Our goal was simple: to observe the phenomenon and, if possible, destroy it. We began our vigil in the cellar late at night. For hours, nothing happened. The silence was heavy, and the air felt thick and unnatural. At some point, I fell asleep while my uncle remained awake. I was suddenly awakened by a terrible scream. The cellar was filled with a strange yellow light, and the air carried a foul, unbearable odor. I quickly turned toward my uncle. What I saw was beyond anything I could have imagined. A shapeless, glowing mass had risen from the ground. It was not solid, yet it had formed something between vapor and living matter. It surrounded my uncle, and his body began to change in horrifying ways. His face twisted and shifted, as if multiple identities were appearing and disappearing within it. His body seemed to dissolve, merging with a monstrous substance. The thing appeared to be feeding on him. In panic, I activated the equipment we had brought, but nothing seemed to affect it. Realizing I could do nothing, I fled the house in terror. The next morning, I returned to the cellar. The horror of the night still haunted me, but I was determined to end it. I believed the source of the evil lay beneath the ground. So I began digging at the spot where the strange patterns had appeared. After some time, I uncovered something horrifying: a massive, semi-solid form buried beneath the earth. It was unlike anything natural, resembling a twisted, organic structure. Without hesitation, I poured strong acid into the pit. A violent reaction followed. Thick, yellow vapors rose into the air, accompanied by a terrifying sound from below. The ground seemed to tremble as the substance was destroyed. When it was over, the cellar felt different. The smell had faded, and the strange fungi had withered away. The evil that had haunted the house for generations was finally gone. In time, the house was rented again. Life returned to the place, and no further tragedies were reported. But I never forgot what I had seen. Some horrors are not meant to be understood, only destroyed.